Alright, so here are the answers to number 1 and 2. I accidentally screwed up and canceled the video, so you have 2 videos to watch. Sorry about that. But here are the answers for numbers 1 and 2 on your own. The other way you could write this, remember, is 0 is less than D and D is less than 10. Okay, so you could write it either way with the 1 inequality or the 2. This is the most advanced way, and this is how you're probably going to be seeing it written in textbooks. Okay? So if we flip over to the back, we're going to go to actually how to solve them now. In example 2. These ones, we know they're ands because it's all 1 inequality. So there's 2 ways you can actually solve this. The first way is to split them up. Okay, this method I don't like as much because it's more writing, but it tends to be easier for students to understand. So remember, we technically have 2 inequalities here. I have this one that I highlighted in pink, and then this one that I'm underlining in green. So you can technically split these up and say negative 4 is less than x minus 2, and x minus 2 is less than 3. And then just solve them like normal. Okay? So remember, I want to get x by myself. So to solve this, I'm going to draw a line down to help me remember which side is which. I want to get rid of this minus 2. To get rid of subtracting 2, I'm going to add 2. Anything I do to one side, got to do to the other. So then I would have negative 4 plus 2. That's going to be negative 2. My less than sign stayed the same. And then I have x. So I did one part of it. The second part then, again, we're going to do the same thing. Solve. I want to get x by itself. So I got to get rid of minus 2. So I would add 2. So then I get x is less than 5. And then you just have to remember these are both my answers. So my answers would be negative 2 is less than x and x is greater than 5. Okay, that's method 1. Okay, method 2 is essentially doing the same thing, except since we're lazy in math, or at least I am when it comes to math, I don't want to write out as much. So I'd have negative 4 is less than x minus 2, which is less than 3. You can do all of it at once. Just realize instead of 2 sides of the equation, I now have 3. Again, I still want to get this x by itself, so I'll highlight it to let us know. Still want to get this x by itself, correct? So I got to get rid of this minus 2. So to get rid of minus 2, I would add 2. Now, normally anything I do to one side, I got to do the other. But in this case, I got 3 sides. So anything I do to one side, I got to do it to all of the sides. So then I would add 2 to this side and add 2 to this side. And you'd get the same answer. Negative 2 is less than x, which is less than 5. So again, my answers didn't change. It's just how you want to do it. Just realize anything you do to one side, you got to do it to every single side of my inequality. So method 1 is splitting up your 2 inequalities into 2 and solving them individually. Method 2 is just doing it all together at once. Again, whatever makes sense to you. Then if we had to graph this, I know I need negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, negative 3. There we go, I got a number line. I know I'm going to start at negative 2, and I know it's going to go this way, and I know it's going to stop at 5, and it's going to be less than 5. So again, because it's an and, it's all that in between. So that would be my answer. So again, you can solve it any which way, shape, or form. You choose which method works best for you. Again, I like method 2 better, but I can see why people enjoy method 1. It's just so you can't screw up any which way. So again, if we look at B, there's technically 2 inequalities. I have this one, and I have this one. So again, you can do method 1. If you do method 1, you'd split them up, so I'd have negative 3 is less than 2x, negative 2x, sorry, plus 1, and negative 2x plus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So you can solve it that way. Again, do the same thing. I'm going to do it method 1 because I'm going to show you this is how I do it. So again, I want to get this x by itself, so I'm going to highlight it to show us what we want to get rid of. Remember, we do PEMDAS backwards when solving because we're undoing everything. So PEMDAS is how you move forward. To undo, we go backwards. So we're getting rid of anything not attached to the x. So I have to first get rid of this plus 1. How do we get rid of plus 1? Well, we subtract 1. Anything you do to one side, we're going to do it to all the sides. So I'm going to get negative 4 is less than negative 2x. These canceled out. Is less than or equal to 8. Okay? Then, I still want to get x by itself. I have negative 2x, which remember means negative 2 times x. So to get rid of multiplication, you're going to divide by negative 2. Right now you should have alarms going off in your head. What did we do differently here? We divided by a negative number. Remember, when we divide by a negative number, what happens? Our signs are going to flip. So don't forget that. We're not going to add anything to our signs like I just did. So they just flip. Okay? So this will become x. 8 divided by negative 2 is going to be negative 4. And negative 4 divided by 2 is going to be 2. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 is 2. So you can do it that way. Okay? So then everything flipped in it, so I have x is less than 2 but greater than negative 4. That can happen. We can do both of those. Now, if you wanted to split it the other way, again, you do the same thing. You just subtract 1. We get negative 4 is less than negative 2x. Divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. We get 2. Our sign flips because we divided. So you can do it both ways. Okay? It works no matter how you decide to do it. It's just whichever method makes more sense to you. Oops. I almost forgot to flip my sign because I divided by a negative. Okay? So it's however it works for you, and then you can graph that on a number line. Alright? Now, with ORs, it's pretty easy. ORs, we know we can't combine them because, again, you can't fit both. So you literally, for an OR, just have to solve both inequalities. So let's start with the first one. I want to get y by itself in this case. In order to get y by itself, I first have to get rid of this subtract 5. So I'm going to add 5, add 5. I get 3y is less than negative 8 plus 5 is going to be negative 3. Okay, got to get y by itself, so then I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3. I get y is less than negative 1. Now I still got to do my add 1. So, or, solve this one. I'm going to add 1 and add 1. I get 2y is less than 6. Okay, divide by 2. Divide by 2. I get y is less than 3. Again, it's an or, so we know they should go in opposite directions because we can't fit both. So, to solve this, we would simply, well, it is solved. Just don't forget your or. So y is less than negative 1 or y is greater than 3. Because there's no number existing in the world that can fit both of those. That's why it's an or. So then we graph. We know it should go in different directions. Negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go back this way. So I'm going to start at negative 1. It's going to be an open circle. And anything less than negative 1, well, that would be negative 2, negative 3. So my line's going to go this way. Or y is greater than 3. Start there. And I'm going to go this way because 4 or 5 are bigger. So again, they go in opposite directions. We know it's an or because it can't satisfy both. All right. I'm going to pause this, and then I'll give you the answers to the bottom so you can see how that goes. So pause it and then try the on. All right. Here are the worked out solutions then to 3, 4, 5, and 6. The only one you had a sign flip in is the second inequality in 6. So if you have any questions, just let me know. If you have any questions on the sheet that we started at the beginning, remember we can just look at it. If they're combined, like this one, we know it's an and inequality, so it'd be negative 6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3. Okay, or you could write it as two different ones. Negative 6 is less than x, and x is less than 3. Again, we know it's and because they're connected. We can satisfy both. So B would be an and, C would be an and, D would be an and. E, F, and G, though, those would be ors because they're separated. Remember, ors, we do need to write it as two different inequalities. So this one would be x is less or greater than or... Whoa, no, it's not. Don't listen to me. X is less than or equal to negative 6. Or x is greater than 3. Okay? So, you just write it as two different ones. You just need to make sure you have the right word, either and or. That's all compound inequalities are. It's just two inequalities graphed together. Your homework then for tonight is not on BIM because, remember, this is an 8th grade concept. So your homework is going to be this 4.5 practice A homework. Okay? It's 14 questions. Do your best. We will correct it in class the next day, and then you'll pass it in for points. Good luck. Have fun. Good job.